No!
This is me getting jump scared at 5 AM in the hardest FNaF challenge I've ever truly attempted. But before I get to this, let's go back to the start of this journey I went through, and maybe you can understand just how truly difficult this was to complete. Also, disclaimer, I wanted to make a video like this before I saw the video by Lufu, so sorry if it's kind of similar. I tried to do my own thing. Also, here's a photosensitivity warning for the duration of this video. You might want to click off now if you have issues with flashing lights. Five Nights at the Gangs is one of, if not the most infamous Roblox FNaF game in the Max Mode community by far. I first found this game by looking at the list and seeing a game simply titled Pizza Man on the number 6 spot in the MML, or Max Mode list. The Max Mode list is the most popular list for ranking FNaF Max Modes by difficulty. My hardest mode whenever I started playing Five Nights at the Gangs was number 50 on the list, being Rat and Cat All Challenges. For reference, UCN's infamous 50-20 mode was roughly 95 on the list. When I saw a Roblox game was number 6, I just felt that I needed to at least give it a go and see why it's so hard. The game features a super simple map layout and very simple enemies, making it very accessible to many people. Starting out, nights 1 through 6 are all about the same, with a few enemies getting added and getting faster over time. Tri-Fly can appear at any of the 3 doors. All you have to do is close the respective door whenever you see him there. Ashton works the same way, just close the door on him whenever you see him. Malachi can only appear at the front door. Whenever he does, simply flash him with the light 7 times to make him go away. Keep in mind that all enemies who appear at the doors can appear at the same time. It isn't like Five Nights at Freddy's 2, where only one animatronic can appear at each vent at a time. Z-Bar moves through the vent with an 8-second timer and is easily the most dangerous enemy. To counter him, click the vent door on the top left of your office. However, when the vent is closed, your oxygen meter starts to rapidly deplete. This means that you have to wait until his timer is very close to running out, and close the vent just before it reaches 0. As soon as any vent enemy timer reaches 0 and the vent is closed, they will make a metal hit noise and then go away. These are the only enemies you will encounter from nights 1 to 6, and just because of how simple it is, I beat every night from 1 to 6 in 1 or 2 tries. But going forward, every night will get exponentially harder than the last. On night 3 and beyond, in select locations, you can see a small glitching particle. Once you click it, it moves to somewhere else. After finding it a few times, you get transported to night ? This is a night that is arguably harder than night 6, but there's only 2 enemies. 3 and 2 is a combination of all the previous enemies you have encountered, with 1 extra. The original Z-Bar timer simply was a timer that you had to keep track of, and then close the vent as it reaches 0. While the timer still exists, it is slightly different now, as the timer only lasts 2 seconds and has loud thumping sounds coming from the vent. Whenever you hear the vent sounds, you have to close the vent pretty quickly in order to not die to 3 and 2. There's also a new version of Malachi's mechanic, while 3 and 2 can appear on your desk and you have to flash him 7 times, just like normal. The only problem with this is that it blocked your view of the middle door a bit, but it isn't bad if you flash him quickly enough. 3 and 2 is the only enemy you will encounter for the first 3 minutes of the night. Whenever 3 AM hits, however, the single hardest enemy in this game starts to make an appearance. Cool Kid. Cool Kid is widely regarded as the hardest enemy in Five Nights at the Gangs. In night ? Past 3 AM, you will eventually see the camera monitor go from purple to red. When it's red, that means a Cool Kid spawned and you have to find him in one of a few select spots in the cameras, then click him. It doesn't seem that bad, but you only have 10 seconds to find and click him, or game over. Keep in mind that while finding him, you still have to be looking in the office and keeping track of the 3 and 2 timer in order to not die. Night ? took me about 30 minutes to beat, as it's not that bad, just harder than the rest of the game. In fact, I actually beat this before beating night 3, as I discovered the glitches on the cameras quickly and decided to beat the secret night. However, once you beat this night, along with night 6, this game takes a difficulty jump that is unlike anything before it. Have Fun is the first max mode of this game. Whenever I tried this night, it was number 66 on the list, and Rat and Cat All Challenges was number 92. The reason why this night is so hard is quite simple. Every single enemy from the previous nights are active. 3 and 2, Cool Kid, Z-Bar, Malachi, Ashton, and Tri-Fly are all active at once. A big change is that in Have Fun, whenever a cool kid spawns, it actually spawns 2 of them. Another small detail which makes the night a bit harder is the lighting. You could easily tell if a cool kid was going to attack you on night question mark, as the whole office is purple, and yet the screen turns bright red. On Have Fun, however, the whole building's white, and the screen changes to just a gray color. At least for me, this made it a whole lot harder to tell if cool kid is active, especially if he spawns when I'm not in the office. The general strategy I had to this night was cycling between the cams 1, 6, and 3 to check for cool kid. This night took me about 1 to 2 days to beat, fluking the night with a best of 3 AM before beating it. I have the full video of me beating it on my channel, linked in the description, if you'd like to watch that. Now, after beating Have Fun, you get sent back to the title screen, but something's wrong. The screen turns red and the buttons start glitching. That is a sign that you now have access to the hardest night in this game by far. Coming in at number 7 on the list, Pizza Man. Pizza Man has only one enemy, being, well, Pizza Man. He acts as literally everybody in the game with a few tweaks. His cool kid clones, dubbed Pizza Kids, have more spots they can be found at, including 2 spots in the office. There are also some walking Pizza Kids, who you still have to click, but they move, which makes them a bit of a pain sometimes whenever they round corners. Pizza Man also has 2 timers, one being Fast Pizza Man, which is a 3 and 2 timer. It will slightly change to have the footsteps be faster, but the timer is 2 seconds. The other timer is Slow Pizza Man, which is usually around 4 seconds, but is silent. A key difference between Pizza Man and Have Fun is that the Pizza Kids have 30 seconds to be clicked, instead of the previous 10 seconds, which is a huge change and it is super important. It means that you don't have to go insane on targeting the Pizza Kids, and can focus on other things while doing so. But because of their super slow kill timer, one Pizza Kid could spawn every 6 to 8 seconds, meaning you can get pretty overwhelmed. Another difference is that from 12 AM to 6 AM, the building and Pizza Man appearance changes, and it gets harder to see, whereas Have Fun is the same white color the whole night. While I don't have any footage from my early progress, I roughly remember the progression that I took. My journey starts on February 20th, 2025. Not shockingly, my first attempt didn't last long, only getting to about 30 seconds. At the time, I assumed I was never beating Pizza Man. In the description of my Have Fun completion video, I wrote, "While there is a harder challenge in this game called Pizza Man, it's literally number 7 on the list, so it's not happening." I wasn't even playing this seriously, more so as a test just to see how impossible for me it truly was. At 12 AM, the night is its normal red color with some shadows. This is the easiest part of the night, as nothing even gets to your doors until 28 seconds. So you just have to click Pizza Kids a few times and then you're halfway to 1 AM. This is why I got about 30 seconds on my first try. It's because you can't lose until 28 seconds unless you die to oxygen somehow. After about 10 more tries, I was starting to get a bit more familiar with the Pizza Kid spots. However, at the time, my camera strategy wasn't any different than the one I had in Have Fun, which is not the best strategy for Pizza Man. I eventually made it to about 55 seconds, getting close to 1 AM, but not quite there yet. At that time, I would have to click about 3 Pizza Kids in order to live. Just clicking 3 of those is already quite difficult for me, and at the time, I wasn't used to the aggressiveness of the enemies, and especially the fast and slow Pizza Men. But finally, after about 15 tries or so, I got to roughly 1 minute and 20 seconds, finally getting to 1 AM. Again, these numbers are not 100% accurate, but I can remember my progression enough to remember whenever I made a jump in progress or whatnot. At 1 AM, the shadows get a bit more intense, making the whole map a bit darker. This didn't affect my runs too badly, as the visual difference between 12 AM and 1 AM is almost nothing. After a couple more attempts, I reached a good time of 1:45. I remember being decently nervous honestly, as it was the farthest I've ever gone, and I knew I was getting close to the 2 AM mark. Nearly immediately afterwards, I reached a time of 2:05. I know I reached 2 AM quickly, but not by much, so 2:05 is probably accurate. At 2 AM, the shadows are actually less intense than 12 AM, making it easier to see, but enemies are constantly coming to your doors and vent for the whole hour, unlike 12 AM. I actually don't remember my progression through 2 AM, but I'm assuming it went roughly the same. I'm just going to say that a few attempts later, I did a 2:20, then a 2:40, then a 3:05 the next day. I doubt I did anything significant during that hour, or else I would remember it, but I know it was the second day of attempts that I reached 3 AM. Around this time was whenever I figured out the correct camera strategy and the main loop for the whole night. I start the night by going through DMs on TikTok or something for 20 seconds. This is vital to the run, as it gives me enough brain rot to be able to stare at the red screen and not have it affect me. Anyway, the main strategy goes as follows. Open the monitor, click on the cam 2. Go out of the monitor and check my office for threats. Open the monitor, look at the timers and make a mental note. Then check for pizza kids. If there's a pizza kid visible, click them, and then go out of the monitor. If there is no pizza kid, then switch back to camera 3 before dropping the monitor. Whenever I drop the monitor, I basically just start spamming the flashlight, because there could be a pizza man that spawned right as I got into the cameras, so I don't have much time to react and flash, so spamming is just much easier. At every monitor flip, if I notice that a timer is under 1.5 seconds or so, then I will drop the monitor and wait a moment before closing the vent. I do the same thing on cams 3, 4, and 6, finally looping back to 2. Checking each camera for pizza kids and timers one flip at a time. This is the cycle that I repeat for the entire night, making the whole night pretty strenuous on my end. At 3 AM, the difficulty goes up a bit. All pizza men are practically invisible when in the office, other than their hat and glasses, due to them turning completely black, and the shadows are a lot more intense in the office, making it harder to spot them at your doors. I know that on the third day, I managed a 312. Due to my consistent progress, my next best attempt would probably come later that day, right? Or, if not, for the day after. I ended up dropping the mode, as it was too hard and too shredding on my eyes because of the vibrant red color in the mode. So for nearly 6 months, I just moved on to other things. Geometry Dash, Minecraft, Grace, Pressure, and especially Superstar Racers. I ended up playing those for a long time, forgetting about Pizza Man entirely. However, on August 11th, I saw the video titled, "Can the best GD player rank the hardest FNaF max modes?" and noticed Pizza Man on the thumbnail. Since I had last attempted Pizza Man, I have lowered the sensitivity on my mouse and have gotten way faster and more accurate. This convinced me that I should give it another shot, just to see how much farther I can make it. That day, I really didn't get anywhere, not even making it to 3 AM. This is mainly due to me not playing much that day at all. The next day, however, couldn't be any more different. Also, from here on out, the times are going to be perfectly accurate. At 4 AM, the shadows are nearly gone, but it's not as much of a good thing as you would expect. This makes pizza men start to blend into the walls, as they turn a lot more red as well. This makes it harder to spot them in the cameras. At 5 AM, the visuals get so much harder, being the hardest part visually until 6 AM. There are no more shadows and the pizza men are completely red, making them blend into the surroundings extremely well. This makes it super hard to spot them in the cameras. The main way you spot pizza kids in the cameras are from them turning blue from being left alone too long. Why am I telling you this? Well, because on August 12th, I got a run to not 4 minutes, but 5 minutes and 8 seconds. Later on the next day, I got a big improvement of a 5:49. Just 40 minutes later, I got onto a run and I was locked in. But after 6 minutes of this, I was getting tired and my brain being completely overwhelmed. I finally reached 6 AM, thus being the night and having a top max mode complete. What? It's not done? Yeah. Instead of lasting 6 minutes like the rest of the nights in the game, Pizza Man actually lasts for over 12 minutes. From 12 AM to 6 AM, those hours are actually considered the fake hours. Once 6 AM hits, the transition occurs. For the next 30 seconds, the building turns almost rainbow and loud noises start playing, making it hard to hear the fast pizza men in the vent. This run that I had ended at a final time of 6 minutes and 5 seconds, being my first transition attempt, though short-lived. The day after, on August 14th, I pulled off a great run. I made it all the way to 707. This is when the true difficulty of Pizza Man begins, whenever true 12 AM starts. At true 12 AM, Ashton and Tri-Fly reappear, alongside the already existing Pizza Man, meaning even more door characters to worry about. Right afterwards, I got an attempt that made it to 719. Later on in that same day, I pulled off a run to 747, making it my first true 1 AM attempt. At true 1 AM, Ashton and Tri-Fly go away, but Z-Bar and Malachi return. Z-Bar is now the third timer you have to keep track of for the vents, being an 8-second timer. While this seems like too much for your oxygen, true 1 AM actually makes the rest of the night significantly easier in the vent aspect. The oxygen depletion rate actually halves for the rest of the night, while having the oxygen restoration rate stay the same. This effectively means that you can have the vent closed for twice as long as before, which is a game changer. In my runs, you can see me start to be a lot more careless with the vent being closed after true 1 AM starts, as I get away with it. Then, on August 15th, I pulled off a big improvement with a time of 8:33, skipping almost the entirety of true 1 AM and making it to the start of true 2 AM. At true 2 AM, the office turns red as Ashton and Triflight come back, meaning that you have to deal with all 4 of the new characters at the same time. Keep in mind that the oxygen chain from true 1 AM is still in effect for the rest of the night, so you can have the vent closed for a long time and be okay. While I did make it to true 2 AM, I barely made it, only making it by 3 seconds. The next day, August 16th, was a bit better, making it to 8:45. 13 hours later on the same day, I made it all the way to 9:23. This means that I was only 7 seconds off from making it to true 3 AM. At true 3 AM, all enemies besides Pizza Man go away, and 3 and 2 and Cool Kid make a return. Cool Kid still has his 10-second kill timer, so it's a priority whenever the screen changes color to look for them. For me, true 3 AM is considered the calm before the storm. There are a few enemies, it's pretty quiet, and it's not that hard. But because I know what's coming up next, this is where my nerves begin to start taking a big effect. I was really hoping that I can get an attempt that died at true 3 AM that day, as I was very consistent, but that didn't happen. Okay. 11 minutes. That's the biggest fluke in progress I ever made on Pizza Man, being 1 minute and 37 seconds, skipping the entirety of true 3 AM and making it halfway into true 4 AM. From here, I was less than 1.5 minutes away from beating the night, and that fact simply dumbfounded me. The reason why making it halfway through 4 AM was so shocking to me was because at true 4 AM, all enemies become active. This means 4 timers, Z-Bar, 3 and 2, Slow Pizza Man, and Fast Pizza Man. There are 4 enemies you have to close the door on, Pizza Man, 3 and 2, Trifly, and Ashton. There are 3 enemies you have to use the flashlight on, Pizza Man, 3 and 2, and Malachi. And finally there are 2 enemies you have to click on the cameras, Pizza Kid and Cool Kid. This is a total of 13 different enemies, granted a lot of them are the same but retextured, that you have to respond to. Along with the map being white, making it harder to see anything in the cameras. While most people agree that this is the hardest part of the entire night, I actually only died to it a few times. The hardest part of the night for me is easily true 5 AM, but I'll explain that later. For now, what did I do next? Well, I stopped. I'm not sure why, but playing Pizza Man after this just really made me annoyed and frustrated. So I only ended up playing it for like 1 or 2 times a day for a couple days, then stopped playing it entirely. About 3 weeks later, I realized I should probably get back to it because my muscle memory is probably pretty bad now after not touching it that entire time. So on September 8th, I loaded up OBS in case a miracle happened, then loaded up Pizza Man once again. As expected, I was pretty bad. After like 6 tries, I didn't even get past 230 once. I wasn't mad at that though, as again, I haven't played in like 3 weeks. But then I focused up, just for 1 run. Who knows? Maybe I'll even make it to the transition. That'll be nice. Oh my god! Oh my god! What the hell? Dude! 11:48. I was in shock. My hands were shaking, they were numb, I could barely stand up, and I was lightheaded. I physically could not believe what just happened. After not playing for 3 weeks and having a pretty bad session before it, getting all the way to true 5 AM was flat out ridiculous. True 5 AM. This is truly the final minute of the night. The gameplay is no different than true 4 AM, however, as all enemies have already been activated. However, all hell breaks loose with the visuals. Every few seconds, a clock tick sound plays in the background, and the hour of the night switches. Whenever the hour switches, the accompanying visuals of the hour are also shown. It starts at fake 12 AM and loops back around to true 5 AM, skipping the transition. This loops a few times until the hour ends. Whenever I reach true 5 AM, my nerves skyrocket and it gets extremely hard to focus. My nerves got so bad to the point where I decided to buy a heart rate monitor, simply just to see how bad it gets for me at true 5 AM. But because it would take 2 weeks to get to my house, I didn't want to play it much in order to not accidentally beat it on a random attempt, as I've proven that can happen. A few days later, on September 10th, I improved slightly, passing the final minute barrier with a 12:01. There wasn't anything special about this run, but I was more focused than usual. Around this time is when I started getting really consistent. I can get to past 10 minutes nearly every single attempt, and it really felt that I was beating it that week, and I remember telling myself exactly that. However, I never did, as due to me wanting a heart rate monitor, I decided to take a 2-week break. This did feel pretty bad, as I was already so close, and to take another break seemed like a mistake. But I just thought to myself, I did an 11:48 without playing for 3 weeks. How much harm could 2 weeks do? I eventually got my heart rate monitor on September 27th, but I was not even that interested in playing. I did a few runs and got a run to 9:36, but that's about it. Over the next 2 weeks, I maybe did one attempt every couple days, and obviously I didn't get very far. A couple 9-minute runs maybe, but that's about it. Though, my motivation to play Pizza Man changed on October 6th. My good friend Cheetos finally beat Have Fun after a while of trying. Go watch his video on his completion after this is done, he deserves it.
Okay, so like, this was recorded like back in October. He has since beaten Pizza Man and GGD Man, so watch that actually. Yeah, okay, anyway.
So, I started playing every day again. I didn't get super far the first 2 days, maybe reaching the 10-minute mark once or twice. But then, on October 8th, 2025, at 6:10 PM, I started a run on Pizza Man. I passed 3 AM, 5 AM, made it to the transition, true 1 AM, true 2 AM, true 3 AM. I even passed true 4 AM. Could this really be it? Can I finally stop?
No! 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 There's no way!
No, it couldn't be that simple. Any game I play, whether it's FNaF 2, where I died 4 seconds away from the end due to a 1 in 512 chance, Geometry Dash with my insane fails like Plate of Justice 95% times 3, Celestium Gratis 90%, Bloodbath 97%, and so many others, I just get screwed over at the very end. This is my worst fail, in any game ever. This is the most nerve-wracking attempt on any game I have ever played, ever. My heart rate peaked at 197 beats per minute. This just wasn't healthy, or safe rather, anymore. After retiming the attempt to the best of my ability, it was revealed to be a 12:25:66, just over a second away from beating the night. After 8 months since I started playing Pizza Man, I just wanted it to be done. I wanted to beat the night. I wanted to be free. On October 11th, 3 days after getting to 12:25, I booted up 5 of the gangs once again. I wasn't doing anything crazy, maybe getting to like 8 minutes once. After like 6 minutes of attempts of getting almost nowhere, I realized that the way I was playing needed to change. So, what else could I do but lock in? But then, the unthinkable happened.
Did I do it? Oh my god! 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 Oh my god!
Way.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
It's over. It's over. It's over.
It's over?
I just want to say thank you to all of my friends who supported me throughout this journey. Back in February when I first played Pizza Man, I looked at the end of the night on a YouTube video and thought that it was simply near impossible. So the fact that I can finally say that I've beaten a top 20 max mode, my hardest beforehand was number 133, that's simply unreal to me. While earlier I said that I was probably not going to attempt anything harder than Pizza Man, I've been playing a harder mode called GGD Man, which is basically a buff Pizza Man. I've already made it to over 3 minutes in, but if placed, it'll be at number 7 on the list, while Pizza Man is number 17. So if I do end up going for that, wish me luck.
Alright, so, yeah, this entire, like, script was recorded, as I said, months ago. So that's a bit outdated. I have since actually gotten to almost 12 minutes on GGD Man, but I've kind of dropped it because I hate playing it now. I actually beat a different mode, which I'm going to be uploading pretty soon. That's my second hardest. It's pretty good. And, yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm not going for GGD Man anymore, probably, but yeah.
Thanks for watching.